Hey there, comic friends. I'm Travis, and this is another edition of Monster Comics Reviews. This is comics for the last week of April 27th, the last of the What the 52 DC covers, and a little bit of everything else involved in this episode. First up, I want to talk about All-Star Western featuring Jonah Hex, issue 19. This is the issue that has Booster Gold in it. If something doesn't change about All-Star Western fairly soon, I won't be collecting it much longer. It's gone kind of flat. I like the character of Hex. He's cool. I even like Arkham. And some of the secondary characters. The Waynes are even interesting. There's just not a lot going on in this. You know, last issue, Jonah randomly, for whatever reason, decides to take off, you know, away from Gotham. He's got a bounty. That's all I'm fine. You know, he's pan for gold. Booster Gold shows up wearing a duster and a, sheriff's badge and a cowboy hat. And Booster in this sounds like an idiot, more so than Booster normally does. I know a lot of people don't really care for Booster Gold. I don't mind the character. I actually kind of like the character. I think it's an interesting concept. And I think over the years, DC has used him in very, very interesting ways. Him to be kind of a linchpin to a lot of their time-oriented issues that goes on in the books and stuff. I don't know if this is Booster Gold. So for some reason, he's stuck in the 1800s, right after Civil War with Jonah Hex, as opposed to being in 2000s in the current timeline, which we do know he is there. I didn't read all of Justice League International, so I don't know if there was any hint that he got stuck in different times before he made it to this time. I have no idea. Booster Gold was fairly competent in that comic book. In the New 52, he wasn't a complete, innocent, naive kind of a person. Here he comes across as being extremely naive in a lot of ways, in the fact that he's just, oh my gosh, I can't believe this murder, I can't believe, oh no, oh. Even if he comes from the 31st century where things are relatively utopia, he has to have historical knowledge of what's happened in the past, and there's been bad things happen in the past and stuff. I don't know. Didn't really care for the story a whole lot. He's kind of plays the same role that Arkham has played in the issues before. Kind of the opposite of the viciousness that is Hex. But it takes it to a point where it just seems, I don't know, kind of dumb, ridiculous. It does not match up well. Backup story in this is another Stormwatch story, as we're slowly building this 18th century group of people that's going to be Stormwatch during this era. That was actually really interesting. This time, instead of it being the swordsman, he's the pistolier or something like that. He's really great with pistols as opposed to the swords. Basically the same character otherwise. It's just this incarnation of him. He is pistols. They deal with werewolves and human trafficking on the Texan-Mexican area border there. And so that was pretty interesting as we are building to, I'm assuming, some story that's going to be this version of this era's version of the full Stormwatch team and whatnot. So that part was pretty cool. But the main title, they got to start doing something with Hex. You pull him off, send him off to do more of the standard bounty hunting things without these, WTF moments that this one has. I don't think this story would have ever been written otherwise. They just needed to come up with something that would fall under that category of the, what the 52. And so that's what they did. Anyway. So next, another book I wasn't very pleased with. Fantastic Four, issue 7. Same problem I have with this issue that I had where I talked about the last issue. If Franklin, right, that's his name, the son, if he has this kind of power and all he's going to get is a bloody nose and have to take a nap for a few moments, if he has this level of power, this plot line does not make sense. He could fix this whole issue, whatever, you know. He could change reality so they're not fixed. Heck, it sounds like he could change reality so he didn't have superpowers if he didn't want to and whatnot. And between him and his sister, who's supposed to be the smartest creature ever, this is dumb, now that I know about these characters. There's some interesting moments in it. The book is actually getting a little better, but I didn't put it on my poll. And it's not going to go back on my poll at this point. You know, 7 inches in, half a year worth of reading comics, and I haven't been happy with it at all. So, so unfortunately, yeah, I'm done. This was my experiment with Fantastic Four. I don't think it's anything to do with the characters and whatnot. The characters are fine, other than I don't know how you really write a book that's got this level of power in it. Yeah, you have to find some interesting way to tell that story that it makes sense, but this doesn't. You know, now that everybody knows the problem exists, I don't understand why it isn't just immediately fixed. And then they can go and just explore for the sake of exploring, not because this urgent, oh my god, they gotta find this thing because they're falling apart or whatever. So, yeah, not real thrilled with that. I'm still not a Begley, the artist. I'm not a fan of his art, and so, yeah, I'm not gonna be getting that. There, on to FF number 6. This comic I am still enjoying, even like the fact, even though it doesn't have our regular artist doing the art, it still has the regular colorist on it, so it still has the pop to it. Love this cover. That cover is just, yeah, absolutely fabulous. I don't like the Antsy Gang, but we're not supposed to like the Antsy Gang, right? But I do love how Scott, Ant-Man, how he deals with the Antsy Gang once it's pretty obvious that they're going to keep hassling Deidre and make her life miserable and whatnot, and he's not okay with that. You know, look, you know, they're causing too much problems for the FF for them to do the work that they need to do, so that gets taken care of. I love the big full-page spread of the whole mansion and who's all in it and where they're at, and that was pretty cool. You know, we're building up on this whole, you know, She-Hulk and Medusa's son go to the Inhumans and go, you know, we kind of lost Medusa. You seen her? No. The dog's coming back with them. That's going to be cool. I'm excited. The book's just fun. It's just a fun book. I'm looking forward to seeing if we get back to Alex and him at the Doom's castle. So that'll be interesting too when we get back into that plot line. But right now, obviously, we're going to deal with Bentley. Is that his name? The clone. But yeah, looking forward to Aldred getting back on the art, obviously, because it's got that. He really adds an extra punch to it. But I think the book and the amusing stuff about it does hold up without Aldred's art. I kind of wondered if we lost half of that 1-2 punch, would it lose some of its? But no, I'm still really enjoying it. It was lots of fun. Issue 19 of I, Vampire. The last I, Vampire, as we continue the complete raising of all the characters in the book, basically. Bennett goes back to being the normal Bennett that the book started out with, basically. Mary kind of saves the day. Yet once again, they do a wonderful job of giving us another slice of Mary for us to understand what Mary's motivations are, why she is the way she is. I love the fact that at the end she says, you know, you didn't, you know, because Bennett's apologizing because Mary's dead. I mean, she gets to come back to strike down Cain. God lets her do that, basically, but she's gone. She's done her final death. Her ghost can't stay here. It goes away. But she lets Bennett know, you know, look, this wasn't you. I mean, you biting me did not make me the monster that I am. And we get to see why, you know, partially why she's the monster that she is. what she's exposed to before she becomes a vampire is pretty bad, and you get that first glimpse of when she first gets her power. It was exactly what she's going to be like, and that final page is pretty awesome as far as that goes. The only characters who I think make it out of this thing are Mage makes it out of the book, and it looks like Tig gets her head put back on because Tig's body gets used by Eve. Eve? No, not Eve. Lilith. Gets used by Lilith, and then when Lilith gets dealt with, her head's still on, and she disappears with the Mage. So I don't know if they'll continue to be boyfriend and girlfriend, if we'll see them someplace in the DC universe, someplace else at some point. You know, who knows. I really enjoyed this comic. This ending was satisfying. Yeah, it's too bad it's gone. But I did definitely enjoy it. The fact that DC gave it 19 issues to you know, tell its full story and whatnot, I think is great, because it is an offbeat comic. It's not your superhero comic. It has less chances of survivability within the DC proper because of that. So I do appreciate DC's allowing it that. Sorry, I got lost in thought there for a second. But yeah, enjoyable book, satisfying ending. It would have been nice for it not to have had an ending. I think that there were still plenty of really interesting stories that could have been told, and with the writer that was on it, could have continued to be an outstanding comic with a lot of interesting stuff. Because I don't think they would have told this story that they just told here if they didn't have to end it. You know, I mean, they knew long enough in advance to end it that they could burn the house down if they wanted to, and they pretty much kind of did. And so I think that made less of a story than if they would have chose to not do that. Okay, next up I'm going to talk about Justice League Dark issue 19. I really enjoyed this issue. It's interesting seeing Constantine pull up Swamp Thing, and Swamp Thing basically give him the what for manipulating him. That's pretty cool. The little bit of the Flash that's in this will be interesting to see how that works out going forward. I love Frankenstein. They're doing a decent job of writing Frankenstein in here. It cracks me up that Frankenstein kind of tells a joke, and he's like, there's nobody here to hear the joke, when he finally does tell a joke, kind of thing, because that's so not Frankenstein normally. I am somewhat tired of, if you have a magic-oriented book, that the attack against the people always is to put them in, you know, showing them their worst fear kind of a thing. That is getting a little old. You think that we could come up with something different, some other threat, some other attack, some other something. You notice that Zatanna isn't in this at all, and there is no remark about her being in this or not being in this. I thought that was kind of interesting. You know, you got Steve Trevor looking for a mole to be inside Justice League Dark, which, you know, dead man, I don't know. I don't think that's going to work out, but like, it's interesting because in the last issues, Zatanna was going with the rest of the group, and now she's not, and I've heard rumors on the internet from Jeff Johns and whatnot that she's going to end up in the Justice League proper as that, you know, second tier heroes and stuff. But anyway, Justice League Dark, still a really great book. Art obviously is outstanding in it. Looking forward to the Trinity Wars that'll be coming up here in the next couple months. But I'm also looking forward to seeing how this plays out, how the characters at the end work, and that sort of thing. Okay, next up, I'm going to talk about Katana issue 3 with its, you know, WTF moment and whatnot. I'm glad I dropped this book. I believe this is the last issue that actually is being shipped to me. I do not care for this book at all. I do not care for the writing style. I don't know. It just, I was talking with Ethan about this yesterday. It really freaks me out. I'm afraid to go back and read the Daredevils that she wrote, that I really enjoyed back in the late 80s. I'm afraid that I go back and read them, I'm really not going to like them now. But it's not that she's a bad writer. I mean, I think as a whole, I think she writes well. I think she writes, you know, she has a voice for all the characters. I mean, she does an effort with these characters. Catwoman has a voice. They're just not voices that I care for or that I'm interested in. But this one isn't written that well either. I really do not like the WTF moment in this. They put the Creeper in this book. The Creeper was in this sword, her sword supposedly, instead of her husband's. The Creeper that's been manipulating her this whole time. And I don't care for that. I like the old Creeper from the DC Universe, and I'm not sure what they're going to do with this one, but I'm not real keen on it. Killer Croc's in this too. His character isn't very likable in this one. Here I am yawning, because that's kind of my opinion of it. I mean, I'm kind of curious to see how they patch this all together and what they do with the Creeper, but at the same time I'm not, because it just wasn't that good of a book, and yeah, I don't have anything, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Got the Creeper in it. They've made him kind of a mess, and so yeah, not looking forward to it. Anyway, next we're going to talk about Shadow, number 12. And you know what? I'm thinking a lot of the books I read this week I really wasn't that happy with. I'm not happy with this issue of the Shadow. I didn't really care for the art, and the story was relatively boring, not real interesting, didn't get any depth, didn't show any real character. It really felt like a sad filler issue. My understanding is that starting next issue, issue 13, we get a new writer on the book. So I'll give a couple issues to see what this new writer's like. Maybe I'm done with the Shadow unless they're going to tell me something more than him just catching a group of bank robbers, and boringly how he goes about doing it. Hopefully Campbell is back on art. I like his art for this book the best that I've seen so far. But yeah, if you're thinking about the Shadow, issue 12 is a issue you can skip. It was a fill-in issue and doesn't really, in my opinion, give you a good showing of the Shadow and what makes the Shadow an interesting character to want to read it. So don't pick up that issue of it. And lastly, I'm going to talk about Young Avengers number 4. Whereas it's completely opposite of these other books, I am really enjoying this book. I am enjoying this book a lot. It's a fun piece of slice of pop culture. It's got a pop mentality to it. I know some people are like, oh, Kieran Gillian, and they've got problems with what he was doing with Iron Man or whatever. I think that this is his kind of a book. It's got that more pop sensibility. There are music references in it. I think it all falls. He has the ability, because he's talking about the youth and the youth population and whatnot, because these are all young characters. I think it gives him the opportunity to venture into what I think he personally enjoys in life, his taste of music and some of the pieces of pop culture that are out there and whatnot, and allows him to express that here. And I think it comes through in all the characters and in the comic, and just they're all, you know, fresh faces and are enjoyable and are fun to read. They have great lines. The final line of this issue that Miss America delivers is awesome. Miss America is an incredibly cool character. You get a lot more Kate Bishop, Hawkeye in this. I love that character too. They're just fun. There's an interesting implication here. Loki kind of plants a seed with Teddy, who's a Skrull, that maybe he's not really real, maybe, that Wiccan deals in chaos magic and you know, he can kind of make things happen that he wants to happen, and he may have manipulated Teddy on purpose, but it doesn't mean that his magic doesn't work through wish fulfillment. Like, oh, whether he's actively saying it or not, just the idea of, man, I really wish I had this, you know, gay boyfriend who was accepting of me, who could be all this stuff, and suddenly Teddy's there kind of a thing. Interesting. I mean, I don't know if that's just Loki, because it's Loki, you know, Kid Loki, you know, jerking him around, pulling some strings, or if there's some level of truth to that. So that'll be an interesting story to see kind of trickle along as this whole thing plays out and whatnot. But this is fun. And then having to fight all these, you know, freaky parents and whatnot is pretty cool. They're flying in, oh, heck, I can't remember the space alien's name. Kavar or something like that. Flying in his spaceship, and people are jumping out of skyscrapers trying to land on the spaceship and pull it down. So they're trying to fly where people won't do that. And they get out in like Central Park. And they got this big brawl in Central Park. It's just fun. The alien is alien-seeming. His reply and response and how he deals with things is just fun. Yeah, every character in this book has their own feel. They don't kind of all just like, ooh, there's this group. The second somebody opens up their mouth, at 4 issues, you know who they are. I think that even if they were off screen and we didn't see them and they opened their mouth and there was a weird bubble, we would be able to know, you know, on panel who it was, because they're doing a good job of creating that voice. Is it a really serious, ooh, deep, dark comic? No, it's fun. Fun, fun, fun. Now, I like some fun books. I like my really dark, gritty books. I like the whole gamut. So having a few fun books is great. You know what? I found a few. What's really surprising to me is all of the fun books that I'm reading, that I read and I go, oh man, this is just fun, you know, are Marvel books. To me, that's surprising. I'm not you know, I mean, Marvel's not my big wheelhouse, but the books that they have that I enjoy the most are the ones that are just flat fun. They're just fun. This Young Avengers book should have been what the Teen Titans was like. And the Teen Titans isn't nowhere like that at all. It's not fun. But the Young Avengers book is. As a whole, this week had quite a few comics in it. Half my books of the regular superhero titles were kind of bland. Strange. We'll see what next month this time brings us. Want to mention that next week when I do my Monster Comic reviews, I will have a special guest with me. It won't be Ethan. It won't be the disembodied voice. It won't be Chloe. Instead, it's going to be Sleepy Reader 666. We're going to do a live hangout version of it. I'm not sure if that's going to be Friday or Saturday or Sunday maybe even. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly when the Comic Talk podcast is going to be. I know on Friday I've got some other commitments. They're going to take up a chunk of the night. So we'll see. But at any rate, me and Sleepy Reader will be reviewing my next week's books. Should be a lot of fun. I've not, I've actually been on a live hangout talking books with Damien before. Damien's not reviewed books with another person before, so we'll see what happens. We'll see if he plays a good Ethan or not. At any rate, until next week or whenever I cut another video, have a great one, everybody. Read some great books. Let me know what's out there that I'm missing.